Montreal is a city surrounded by water, but that also means it is vulnerable to flooding. In recent years, the city has experienced several episodes of spring floods that have caused damage and disruption to many residents and businesses. In this section, we will explore the areas in Montreal that are prone to flooding and the times of the year when the risk is highest. According to the city's website, the areas that are at higher risk of flooding are those bordering the Lac du Montagnes and the Rivière des Prairies. These include some boroughs such as Ahuntsic-Cartierville, L'Isle-Bizard-Sainte-Geneviève, Montreal Nord, Pierrefonds-Roxborough, Pointe-Claire, Rivière des Prairies, Pointe-aux-Trembles, Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue and Senneville. These areas are exposed to the fluctuations of water levels upstream of the Ottawa River and its tributaries, which can be affected by snowmelt, rainfall and ice jams. The city also monitors the water levels of the St. Lawrence River and Lac St. Louis, but the risk of flooding for these shorelines is low. However, some exceptional events such as storm surges or high tides can still pose a threat to these areas. The times of the year when the flood risk is highest are usually in the spring and in the winter. In the spring, the combination of snowmelt and rainfall can cause a rapid rise in water levels and overflow the riverbanks. This was the case in 2017 and 2019, when Montreal saw extensive flooding that forced thousands of people to evacuate their homes and businesses. In the winter, the formation of ice on the rivers can also create a risk of flooding. When ice breaks up and accumulates at narrow points or bridges, it can block the flow of water and create a backwater effect. This can result in sudden flooding downstream of the ice jam. The city has experienced several ice jam floods in its history, such as in 1886, 1952, and 1976. The city has a special flood response plan that activates different modes of intervention depending on the situation. The city also has various equipment and material that can be deployed quickly to protect the areas at risk, such as sandbags, concrete barriers, pumps and generators. The city advises residents in flood-prone areas to prepare an emergency plan and kit, and to follow the instructions from local authorities in case of evacuation. Flooding is a serious issue that affects many Montrealers every year. By knowing the areas and times that are most at risk, we can better understand and prevent the impacts of this natural hazard. The equipment and material that the city and the boroughs have prepared to prevent and mitigate flooding, such as concrete barriers, sandbags, pumps and generators. Montreal is no stranger to spring floods. In 2017 and 2019, many homes and businesses were damaged by the rising waters of the St. Lawrence River, the Rivière des Prairies, Lac St. Louis, and Lac du Montagnes. To avoid a repeat of these disasters, the city and the boroughs have taken various measures to protect their residents and infrastructure from flooding. One of the main strategies is to have a wide range of equipment and material that can be set up quickly in areas affected by flooding. According to the city's website, these include concrete barriers, jersey barriers, that can block water from entering streets or properties. Muscle wall type protective barriers that are lightweight and easy to install. Sandbags that can be filled with sand or pebbles and stacked to form a wall or a dike. Empty bags that can be distributed to residents who want to make their own sandbags. Bulk sand and pebbles that can be used to fill bags or reinforce dikes. Citadel dikes, big white bags, that are large inflatable tubes filled with water that can act as temporary dams. Plastic sheeting that can be used to cover windows, doors or vents to prevent water infiltration. Submersible pumps that can pump water out of basements or low-lying areas. Gas pumps that can provide power to submersible pumps or other devices in case of electricity outage. Generators that can supply electricity to essential services or equipment. The city has also rented trucks, mechanical shovels and other equipment during at-risk periods. Some boroughs, such as Pierrefonds-Roxborough, have also rented additional water pumps to have on standby. The Public Works Department has a plan in place detailing how and where to install these equipment and material if they are needed. The city and the boroughs monitor the water levels and weather forecasts daily during high-risk periods. They also communicate with residents through various channels, such as door-to-door visits, pamphlets, websites, social media, and phone calls. They advise residents on how to protect their homes and belongings, how to prepare an emergency kit and a 3-day plan, and how to evacuate if necessary. The city and the boroughs hope that by having these equipment and material ready, they can prevent or reduce the impact of flooding on their communities. However, they also remind residents that they are responsible for their own safety and property, and that they should follow the instructions of the authorities in case of an emergency.